Remember when Ninja was all about those blue zeros to fuel the Kodachi stab hit? I do, and you should too, because it wasn't that long ago. Any blue zero that came out was scary as it threatened to fuel that Aria engine. But the 100 Winds of Eternity combo series from Everfest now lets us actually challenge that mindset, with the capability to now run a deck with nearly all zeros, in the spirit of a Cheerios-type build even. The floating resource after the Kodachi swings becomes less and less important. So while it's obvious that the 100 Winds of Eternity combo has tremendous upside in of itself, today I'm talking about why the introduction of this combo line actually carries far more impact than just the combo. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Flesh and Blood folks, and welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. Thank you very much for tuning in today, hanging out, and that's right, talking Ninja. Now, since the beginning of Flesh and Blood, the very beginning, it was so ingrained within Ninja culture that blue zeros were staple needs. And let's be clear, blues are still a very, very good thing, especially in the age of Wizards, Arcane, Frostbite, and all that. But now we're kind of at the point where you can ask the question legitimately, what if you didn't have to constrain yourself by running a specific number of blue zeros? Because with this new combo, the 100 Winds of Eternity line, I believe we no longer have to. Now, tonight's cast is sponsored by FabDB, the premier source for online content for Flesh and Blood. You can have it over there to build your decks, to do collection management, to look at prices. You can even do dummy booster drafts. It's really an awesome resource. Please go check it out. I know most of you guys are already doing that, and rightly so. So, great sponsor. Thank you to them for helping us out here, and let's get this started. So, as I mentioned, it's no secret that the 100 Winds of Eternity combo line is really, really good, right? If you look at 100 Winds in of itself, just as its own thing, it combos off of itself, which is kind of cool. I do believe it's the first, actually not believe, I'm positive it's the first beginning combo card that actually has combo, which is relevant just in of itself for being in existence in the deck from a defense standpoint. Now, yes, it only defends for 2, and that's likely why, right? Balance is a thing, folks. So 100 Winds. If 100 Winds was the last attack this combat chain, this attack gains +1 for each other card named 100 Winds you control on the combat chain. Go again. Then we, of course, have the granddaddy finisher, Winds of Eternity combo. If 100 Winds was the last attack this combat chain, Winds of Eternity gains +2. And when this hits, shuffle all cards named 100 Winds you own on the combat chain into your deck, right? So you get a little bit of the cycling. Note, of course, that Winds of Eternity doesn't recycle itself. And also, interestingly, Winds of Eternity is not dependent on how many 100 Winds you have. You could do a single 100 Winds into Winds of Eternity and get the same bonus as if you'd 100 Winds of Eternity. And let's not forget, folks, these both have a cost of 0. 100 Winds is a red, yellow, blue, which means that both of these have blue 0 options if you want to. But like I said, the case I'm making tonight is that you don't necessarily have to. Now, 100 Winds in of itself is a great card because, just stick with me on this one, right? I don't think I have to justify why it's a super great card, but what I love about this is how it forces your opponent to make decisions, right? You throw down 100 Winds in any pitch, right? Any pitch you throw down 100 Winds, and they say, oh no, do I have to block this, right? Do I block this, right? They know they have to stop Winds of Eternity, right? Which will be your penultimate finisher, right? Each 100 Winds has more power as it goes as well, right? So let's say you throw down a red. If they block that with a 3, fine, that's a fair trade. But now you can, in theory, come with a yellow 100 Winds that will also be striking 3, or a blue 100 Winds that will be striking 2, or potentially 3 after that, depending on how you've been able to set it up. And then at the end of that, they have to not have enough to be able to actually successfully block Winds of Eternity. Because Winds of Eternity recycles them all, not based on whether the previous ones have hit or not, but based on whether Winds of Eternity has hit or not, right? So they have to, you can almost do like the potential fake out, the head game, the head fake, whatever you want to call it, right? Just throw 100 wins down. They might not block it because they're worried about the combo happening. And if you don't have it, you're like, okay, I just stuck one in. I got a freebie, right? I absolutely love, I love positions where you can, for minimal effort, make your opponent make a decision that they don't normally want to make, right? And I love it, and that's what this combo does, right? So again, I'm showing the combo itself across the screen. Again, I know you guys get it. It's pretty self-explanatory. 100 wins into 100 wins for +1 for +X as many times as you want to go, and then you get a 2 at the end. Stacks, good to go, good from there. All right, so combo's great, awesome, play it, hands down, great. All right, so now you will notice that the backdrop of tonight's cast is actually the Soul Bead Strike. That's because I haven't been able to find the art for 100 wins, but either way, I really do like this art. So what I'm showing up now is combined with the Soul Bead line. 100 wins really opens up some very interesting deck building options for Ninja. And what I mean by that isn't necessarily like, oh, these are the best cards ever, but Defiant Center's pretty good, by the way. Send State tokens are really good. But what I'm showing right now are those two combos together. What do you notice in the cost, right? In the cost, you notice they're all zeros, right? So what we see is that, because normally you're able to run 2, maybe 3 combo lines within a deck, right? That's really all you have space for, depending on the specific pitches you're going for and stuff like that. And granted, now that blue zeros have become less important, maybe it opens up more options to you, right? But in the past, in the olden days of Fab, right, all of your combos had something that paid, right? Head jab opened as a 0, but then you had open the center, which was a 2, and then a 0 followed that. Leg tap was a 1, followed by a 0, followed by a 1, right? So there were costs associated with all of these. Well, now, with them being all zeros, all of a sudden that we were talking earlier about the importance of the blue 0. The importance of the blue 0 pitch was for Kodachi 1, Kodachi 2, and 1 floating. The 0, of course, being the important part because you need to have zeros for Kodachi, right? I mean, just to make sure everybody understands. I know you guys do, right? But now you have this, calling it a Cheerios build, I don't think is completely fair because I don't think that's entirely the point, right? It's not in the same vein as you would like, the old Cheerios Briar or something like that. It's not entirely in the same vein, right? But think of it this way: there were cards out there that some of us felt, myself included, felt comfortable running as yellow zeros within like an Aria deck, right? Salt the Wound being a good example of that, right? It's like, you know what? It's not optimal if I have to pitch a Salt to the Wound to get 2 Kodachis. But because a lot of times I'm running Scars or Exudes or Snatch or whatever it may be, a lot of times that third hit didn't end up being a cost. So it was okay in some cases to have yellow zeros there. Now, you wouldn't want to run a full deck of those. But that was kind of where things were approaching, I don't know, Crew, Monarch type days, right? You know what I'm saying. But now you look at this with having that second combo line now, right? So we have before we had Soul Bead, Crane, and Fine Center that was completely zeros. To be very clear, the Torrent of Tempo line is actually really good. It's just that it's dependent on Torrent of Tempo being the 1 and then hitting, of course. But now that we have 2 combo lines that are not dependent on cost, what will the Ninja players be able to do, right? What will they be able to do? Now, what I'm throwing up right now is I was just theory crafting, right? Just playing around with an Aria deck just to see what they could do. I'm showing it right now. Look at this thing, right? Look at the cost breakdown. We have, the red, blue, and yellow is relatively well matched, but that's because I was just theory crafting here and throwing in, seeing what was possible. This isn't even well tuned at all, like in any sense of the word. So I could very easily go down on those blues because if you look at the cost curve, look how many zeros are there and look how many 1s are there, right? The 1s I'm playing in there are Torrent of Tempo and I think Push the Point, right? Actually, let's go. We can go ahead and pull it up. Give me just a second. I will do that. Yeah, so what I'm showing right now is the deck, and again, to be clear, this is just what I was playing. Oh, Whirling Mist Blossom. That was where the other one came from, not from Open the Center. But I was playing Whirling Mist Blossom in this version, which, again, is arguable that you don't have to do with Ira. It's just, again, it's one of those things that, puts pressure on them. But it's a whole deck full of zeros. A whole deck of Cheerios-esque type stuff, and once you start getting into that range where all of a sudden the blue zero is not as important as it used to be. Now, again, to be clear, I'm not advocating you don't run any blues in the Wizard Blitz world, especially, right? But in general, I'm not advocating no blues. But what if you didn't have to have 30% of your deck blues anymore, or whatever, right? Whatever the competitive people ran, it was in that 30 to 25% range, I'm pretty sure, right? Or more. But now, what if you're comfortable running, like a Dorinthea deck, you're comfortable running, 8 to 10 blues as opposed to what you used to run before, or something like that, right? It's really very interesting to see where the Ninja players are going to be able to go, and it is largely dependent on the introduction of this line itself, right? So yes, this line's really, really good, but there's more to it. There's more to the meta impact than simply how good this combo line is. It's what has been opened up in terms of theory crafting. So anyway, that's it for me today. You guys get the combo. There's nothing really to break down there, and on the combo, it's just where can we go in terms of deck building. I'm really curious to see what you crazy Ninja people out there are going to come up with, because I think there's a lot of upside from this, especially in a Control Frostbite meta, where things might cost and you might have a little extra to pay. I mean, can you imagine playing Fab in a world where you had extra resources floating around? That's a pretty cool prospect. So anyway, folks, let me know what you're thinking. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you're a Ninja player, or even if you're not, are you excited about this? Let us know in the comments. Thank you guys very much for joining me today. I can't wait to get this on the table or fight against it and see what it does. So anyway, folks, thanks for joining, and go Commando.